Hey everybody, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of chatting with bassist Millie Chan. If you don't know Millie, Millie's the bassist for the Glam Skanks. So welcome to Bass Musician Magazine, Millie. So great to have a chance to
Hey,
talk. Yay!
thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, even though I'm
Excellent.
in my own apartment, but I'm talking to you, so that's cool.
This is why Skype is great, is
I
that we're able to,
know.
to do this. But anyway, so that we can get a better chance to know you, tell us a little bit about your bass journey. How did you get started playing bass?
Oh, right. Okay, so I started, I wanted to play guitar, as most people do first, and I was in middle school. I was actually in um, the eighth grade, and I decided to take music class at school, and I thought that they were going to teach you how to play electric guitar, but I was wrong. And my music teacher told me that, hey, we don't do that here. We only have classical instruments. So you have to either learn how to play a trumpet, a trombone, or just the snare, or just, a violin. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, no, that's not what I had in mind. And then he was like, okay, I can compromise with you. We're down one trombone player, and the bass guitar is as close as it's going to get. And I was like, okay, I could live with that. And I told my mom that, and we bought the cheapest bass we could find. It was a Ibanez. I think it was like $100. And I kind of taught myself because he gave me one of those musical notebooks with all of the notes, but it kind of tells you where.
Hmm.
And I learned myself, being 13 years old and bored and nothing else to do. You kind of just sit in your room and learn all of this stuff, even though I was playing like classical music that I didn't think was cool at the time. But now I'm like, damn, like it kind of went out the window when you start playing in punk bands or rock and roll bands. You don't really have to talk about music theory or notes as much. You're just like, hey, I'm doing this, like let's jam. And now I wish that I could go back to my 13-year-old brain and be like, I know how to read all this sheet music. So that's kind of what happened. And everybody always needs a bass player.
Hmm.
So I just got stuck being a bass player, but I love it because I love drums too. And I kind of wish I could be a drummer. I know how to play the drums, but I can't do crazy fills and all that. And I guess bass is kind of like the middle ground of I get to do rhythm because I love drums and I love guitar too. So it's right smack in the middle.
Absolutely. Well, and there is definitely that combination of the percussive element of playing
Mhm.
bass and a melodic component.
Yeah,
So you're absolutely right. It is kind of the best of both worlds.
it is. And I love it so much.
And so following that, you were a lot of your training was self-taught. Did you pursue any further studies?
No, actually, I want to, but I get
Okay.
so busy with playing in bands that I don't really have time. But I learn from other people that I play with, and it's kind of inspiring. Um, One of the bands that I've joined, the first band that I kind of got crazy and we were touring and stuff, it's actually a cover band,
Hmm.
and we're an all-girl cover band to Turbo Negro called Turbo Negra. So I
Okay.
had to learn all of Happy Tom's bass lines within a week, and that was like 20 songs I had to learn within a week. I was 19 at the time, and I kind of had to learn someone else's bass style, and I kind of got stuck playing somebody else's bass lines for a while, and that kind of taught me like different licks and all that. But I'm much happier playing an original band now,
Hmm.
and right now Glam Skanks has also taught me a lot of interesting things. And the guitar player, she's an amazing, I mean, you could hear her solos. She's amazing at what she does. And she also knows how to play bass too. So
Okay.
she kind of like shows me some cool things. And her dad, Bruce Whitkin, who is an amazing bass player, he's one of the best bass players I've ever seen. And he's definitely taught me a lot. So I feel like it's a learning journey, and I love learning from people. You can learn something from every bass player, I feel.
Absolutely. Well, and that's why I accentuate and stress the term journey,
Yeah,
because it's an ongoing process, and it's not about necessarily the end of it. It's the ongoing learning, and busy is an excellent place to be. That's what a lot of people would like, and there's so many ways to get around it. You've got people that will pursue a more academic approach, and
it's
then
true. You're right.
kind of go this way, and then try to find themselves being busy. And
Yeah, you
they
definitely have different types.
and they might go with a gig that is more a sight reading thing, like if you're playing in the pit for Broadway shows and stuff, that
Yeah.
you have to just be able to sit down. You don't have a week to learn it. You've got now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you have to do it now. You have to know all the notes. And
Absolutely. But on the other hand, there are bassists that I've spoken to that have been with the same group like for 40 years.
yeah,
And they can play the songs in their sleep.
yeah,
And it's kind of like it's good, it's productive, it's comfortable. A lot of times, what they'll end up doing, and when they do have some spare time, which sometimes is a rarity, they work on side projects, or they work on kind of self enhancement. Rudy Sarzo
yeah.
was telling me that he loves a lot of the YouTube bass videos because he'll pick out a pearl or a gem when he's watching him, going, "Hey, okay, that's something I want to incorporate into my music. I think I'll try that or something." So
Yeah,
it
that's cool.
it's all just it's not. I would say it really doesn't matter how you get to where you get to, because that is your personal journey.
hmm And everyone's unique in their own way. Everyone has their own style.
Oh, totally. Now that brings us to the Glam Skanks. Tell us a little bit about that. This is when when did you start with the Glam Skanks? I know that relatively newer band, I would say.
Yeah, Glam Skanks started about 4 years ago, and
Okay,
I joined them about 2 years ago
gotcha.
when I moved down to Los Angeles. It was a very interesting, cool story of how I got into the band. So I'll let you know. Um, I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I was well, I still work in the Valley, but I was at work and I saw one of my really good friends from high school days. He checked in the Valley, but he's from the East Bay, and that's where I'm originally from.
Hmm.
And I was like, who comes to LA to visit the Valley? I mean, no offense to the Valley, but it's just like interesting. So I messaged him and I was like, hey, what are you doing in the Valley from the East Bay? And he's like, oh, actually, what are you doing? I thought you still lived in the East Bay. And I was like, no, I actually moved to Los Angeles. And he was like, I'm actually visiting a really cool friend of mine, and she's in an all girl band, and they need a bass player. And if you live in Los Angeles now, you would be perfect for them. And so that's kind of how I was introduced to Glam Skanks. And at first, I had two other bands I was in, um, the Turbo Negra band and Spectacular Spectacular, which is my indie band. And I was like, I'm too busy. Like, there's too much going on. I can fill in for you guys, but at the time, I wasn't sure. I was still finding my journey,
Hmm.
and at the time, I wasn't a huge glam rock fan. I mean, I love David Bowie and stuff like that, but I just never was introduced to it as much. And I thought it wouldn't be my style. And the girls were persistent, Allie and V. They kept writing me. They're like, hey, are you sure you don't want to jam again? And, do you want to hang out at least? And I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt to hang out with them. So they took me to a really cute bar called the Black Cat in Silver Lake. And I love black cats. Like, that's my thing. I should be wearing my black cat beanie, but I'm not. I can put that on. But we had some drinks and we all decided to go to a strip club called Cheetahs. And we've all never been to a strip club. And it was not just a typical strip club, it was a drag night. So it was cool. There was like a lot of crazy things going on. And that was our first night hanging out, and I fell in love with them. They both have such amazing personalities and talents, and they had so much passion for music, and they're close to my age. And I usually play in bands with people who are like twice my age or 10 years older than me. And this was the first time I met other girls my age who were super passionate about music, and that's all they want to do. And I was like, okay, I can't really say no to this. So I gave it a shot, and it became my thing. So
Gotcha.
that's how I became the Glam Skanks.
Well, and bands are a lot of times kind of like family, and
Yes.
you're always better off if you mesh, if you get along with your family, and so that
Yeah.
because you're going to spend so much time in proximity that
Yes.
and
Exactly.
granted, everybody's heard, there's been with some of the greatest bands on the planet. They've stopped happening because they lost their kind of family connection.
Exactly.
You know,
That's to me the most important thing, because we all love each other. We can't go a day without like talking to each other. It's kind of crazy. Like we have a group messenger of drummer Cassie, the guitar player, Ali, the singer, and me, and we just literally send each other memes, gifts. Like we're always like talking, and we'll just be like, "Hey, I'm eating this right now." Like we're so attached to each other.
gotcha.
And everyone's always like, we've never met a band who loves each other as much as you guys. And I'm like, yeah, let's knock on wood. No.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the genre, because again, I think in music, a lot of people will kind of go, okay, we fit here. You guys are in glitter rock. Tell us a little bit, what is glitter rock?
Well, I guess people kind of have their own description of what genre we're in.
Hmm.
And it's hard for us to say exactly what genre we're in, because we're inspired by all types of music. And I think you can hear that in our album. We have a blues type song, we've got a punky song, we've got, yes, a glitter glam type song. And now we've just written more songs, and I can't wait for you to hear it. And we wrote a song that's kind of surfy. So I guess glitter rock in our eyes would be the way we kind of portray ourselves. We wear a lot of glitter. We throw a lot of glitter at our shows. We leave a lot of glitter everywhere we go. And we rock out as a band, and we just kind of play as crazy as we want without a care. And I guess that is categorized as glitter rock.
Okay. Well, and
It could be interpreted any way you want.
absolutely. And the name of your new album is actually Glitter City.
Hmm. And Glitter City to us is kind of like a fantasy world of like, you know, glitter everywhere, fun, being in a rock and roll band, just like it's taking you to another world, basically, to our world. And we
Gotcha.
kind of like to put ourselves in a cube and with a bunch of glitter, and we're super into what our outfits are. As you can tell, we have a lot of sequins, glitter again. If you look at our platforms, there's glitter on the platform. So, yeah, Glitter City's kind of a metaphor for what we are.
Got you. And there's a single that I've seen already that's been released titled Bad Bitch.
Yes,
And tell me
love it.
a little bit about that. It's an interesting
All
video.
right. I do. This says "bad bitch" on it. This logo right here. This logo actually inspired us. Um, it's from a brand called Social Decay, and it's my friend's clothing company from Brooklyn. And we met those girls, and they had these cool shirts that said "bad bitch," but it looked like a Batman.
Hmm.
And we were just kind of inspired by that idea. Like, wow, like let's write a song about bad bitches. Like, why not? Like
Yeah.
taking care of like, women and beating up bad men, and kind of like a girl version of Batman, basically.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of been more of a anthem for us more than that small idea now, especially what's going on in the world and a lot of, you know, talk about women needing to be put in their place. And this song just kind of empowers anybody, actually. You don't even have to be a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we play this song live, we get a bunch of people on stage and they're just dancing and singing it. And it's kind of a song to remind you that anybody could be a bad bitch. So,
Gotcha. Well, there's definitely a high energy level with this, so that's really cool.
yeah.
Talk to us again about your voice, because in order for you to make the sound that you make, you have choices in gear. What are you playing on?
Oh, right. So I am happily endorsed by Max Watt, and so is my guitar player. So Max Watt is basically high watt, but in America is Max Watt. And I'm using their B300 HD bass amp setup, and they're very sweet. They hooked us up with amps. Even in the UK, we were using high watt, and they're just very supportive, and they give us what we need. And the sound is amazing. It's super, super loud, powerful. It's kind of got that vintage sound in a way, but not too vintage.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to use the V-Tech bass pedal. People mostly use that in the studio, but I was given that to use, and it actually sounds really good, and it has presets in it because I like to use a lot of drive to give the bass kind of like a distorted sound in a way, because we have one guitar player, and when you put distortion on bass, it kind of like fills it up a little bit more. And I play Duesenberg bass, star player bass, and it's one of my favorite basses I've ever laid eyes on or even touched or heard. And I'll tell you a story of how I got that bass. I got that bass. It was a surprise, actually. And we did a Duesenberg event with basically half of the Hollywood vampires. We opened up for them. So we got to open up for Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp, and basically like all these other cool guys. And it was a Duesenberg event, and we had to use Duesenberg instruments, and saying Duesenberg like so much like a tongue twister.
It is.
And, I went into the room before the whole show, and they were like, "Hey, Millie, open up this, case. You're gonna use a bass in there." And I had seen this bass online, and I was like, "Damn, like this is a perfect bass. It's glittery, it's beautiful, it's my size." But we were like, "Oh, it's impossible," because they're really expensive and they're hard to find too. They're from Germany, and I saw a flight ticket on the case, like it was shipped there. And I picked up the bass, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is the one that I saw online. This is beautiful." And they're like, "Yeah, you get to use that for the show." And I'm like, "Cool, this is amazing." And then Bruce, he produced our record, and he's our guitar player's dad. And he came in and he was like, "Merry Christmas, kid." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "It's yours." And I'm like, "No." And I was just like, really like, I couldn't believe it, because I always wanted like a new bass, and I just couldn't afford a new one. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, "It's yours." And I'm like, "No way." And I just started crying of happiness and shock. And I was like, this is literally the best day of my life. And that's how I got the Duesenberg bass.
Very cool.
Duesenberg does like to repost my pictures sometimes. They're like, "Check out this band with this bass." So that's what I use.
Excellent. Any other things in your gearbox? Strings?
Ernie Ball, bass strings, they definitely hook us up too. And um, I'm also using a Line 6 wireless, which is great because me and my singer tend to get tangled up. Like, we will get tangled up like a freaking, like, bunch of snakes just tangled up together. And we're like, how did this happen? So my guitar player is also on the Line 6 wireless, so we literally like run around across stages and then try to get a workout at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, and speaking of running around, you guys have upcoming tour in September,
Yes, we do. It's
and
exciting.
that's in support of Adam Ant.
Hmm.
Gotcha. And what other plans for the future? What's in store? What are we looking forward to coming from the Glam Skanks?
Well, we are working on a new album, so I expect to see a new record coming soon-ish. Um, we're gonna be touring all over the U.S. with Adamant, and we have a bunch of our own shows starting August 31st in Arizona, actually. So check us out on social media. We're going to be posting all of our own shows along with the Adamant gigs. If you can't get into an Adamant gig, you can see us in a more intimate setting and get glitter poured all over you. We also are planning to tour in Europe. We have a show offer at the Roundhouse on December 21st in London with Adamant. Might be a good holiday treat to see us in London. Mm-hmm. So we're planning a tour around that. So hopefully people in Europe can see us soon.
So you mentioned with social media, are you more on Facebook? Where's the best place for people to find out about what's going on with you guys?
We are on Facebook, Glam Skanks. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We have a website, Apple Music, Spotify. You can order our stuff. We prefer that. And we will sign it and send it to you. We have new merch coming out, top secret, but I'll tell you. We have an amazing artist / friend named John Paul Jones. That's his real name. And he had created a really cool manga of us, kind of like, I don't know if you know what manga is.
Yes.
It's like okay, yeah. Some people don't, but, and it's really, really cool, and it's hilarious, and it literally explains who we are, but in a manga form. And we're going to have only 50 issues. So we'll be selling those at our shows, and it might be available online, maybe, but we're only printing 50, so get your hands on them.
Got you. Well, it sounds like an addition incentive for people to go see your shows, because they can get cool merch as well. So that's super.
Yeah, we always have all types of merch. We're coming out with panties. Who doesn't need panties? We have T-shirts, limited edition T-shirts with tour dates from the UK. We have a lot, pins, stickers.
Very cool.
We have everything. And we always love meeting fans. After every show, we literally stay at the merch booth, and we love taking pictures with everyone, signing things. And we love meeting kids. That is one of our favorite things, when we get to meet young girls or young boys, and they're just so shy, because it reminds me of when I was a kid and I watched bands play, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really want to be like them and I want to talk to them, but I'm scared. And it just reminds me of why I got into music as well. Just love inspiring people, because I get inspired really easily.
Gotcha.
It's just a beautiful feeling, and music is one of the most inspiring things to me, and I think it definitely has a lot of impact. So,
well, and certainly as a female bassist, you are in a minority, because there's certainly a whole lot more guys than there are women. So we're always super happy to talk to the females that are, joining the ranks, and There's
Yeah.
one of the interesting things that always happens on social media when I post a photo of a female bassist. A lot of times you'll get some of the haters that'll go, "Oh, she must be a model. She can't play." And it's like,
Yeah,
no,
it's true.
you know, listen to the music.
Yeah.
That's where the proof is, and I'm happy that they get proven wrong many times.
Oh, yeah. This happens at shows all the time because me and my bandmates were all the same height. We're 5'2". We're these little girls to people,
Uh-huh.
and they look at us with our equipment, and sometimes we get asked, "Oh, are you carrying your boyfriend's bass?" Like, I get that. Um, and then when we go on stage, you'll see the guys, and they're just like, "Oh, like these little girls on stage." And then once we start playing, and 30 seconds into our intro song, they're kind of like, they start loosening up, their arms start going down, they start getting closer to the stage, they start moving around, and sooner or later, they're talking to us, taking pictures with us, and we become friends and fans, and we love that. We love proving people wrong, so
Absolutely.
that's also part of why I keep doing it, because it's my whole life. I've always had people say, like, "Oh, like, you're a girl, like, you're not ever going to be as good as the boys," or, "Oh, you're playing an instrument that mostly men play," like, "Oh, that bass is too big for you." There's always something. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to show all these people that, no, like, women can rock the bass just as hard as men, or harder. But yeah, so I love it. I just love the opposite of what people think and proving them wrong.
Got you. So along that line, if you could give a young girl who wants to play bass that may be seeing this a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to keep doing it, have as much fun, rock out in her room, rock out on stage like you're in your room, and just don't care about any judgment, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get and the more confident you're going to get. And it's going to be way more fun doing it despite what anyone thinks. And I think people in general worry too much about what people think in general. And I had a hard time always worrying about what people thought of me too. I was so shy in middle school and high school. I was so shy that I didn't even eat lunch because I was scared people were going to judge me of how I ate. That's how freaking shy I was, and worried about people judging me. And then I was just like, this doesn't feel good, and who cares? Like, if I'm doing something that I'm having fun with and that I love, it really doesn't matter what people are saying to me, because they're not me. They're not feeling what I'm feeling when I'm playing. They're not feeling what I'm feeling when I'm listening to what I'm listening. So it doesn't matter what people think in all actuality, because if it makes you feel good, then do it. And that's how I feel about everything.
Absolutely. Well, this has been great, Millie. Thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to chat with us.
It was great chatting with you.
And what is your website again?
Glamskanks.com, and Facebook, we have Glam Skanks, Instagram, Glam Skanks, Twitter, Glam Skanks.
Excellent.
Glam Skanks.
Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to hearing a lot more from the Glam Skanks, and people, make sure that you check out the social media and their website and see if they're coming to a town near you, because we definitely want to support the arts, support live performances, because that's where the energy is.
Yes, it is.
Recordings are great because you have it to listen to whenever you want to, but there's nothing like a live show. And
that's what we are. We will win you over when you come to one of our shows, because that's what it is. We're bored of just having everything digital, and you can't get that energy from a computer. You have to be there in our presence, and trust me, you're going to want some glitter on you.
Totally. So people, get off your ass, go see the Glam Skanks and get glitter on.
Yeah!
Well, thanks again, people. You've seen it. Millie Chan coming to you live on Bass Musician Magazine.
Thank you. See you soon.
You betcha.